What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to LCL Outdoors. Appreciate y'all tuning in to hang out here in the garage with us for just a little while. Hey, we got something special for you all tonight. Some of you veterans, I'm sure you already know this process, but for the newer guys and gals out there that's got into bait making or thinking about getting into bait making, or maybe you just make baits for yourself to use. We're going to be making tubes tonight with no molds, no injectors, the old-fashioned way, the way a lot of your companies make them, even a lot of the big name companies. This is the way they make their tubes. We're going to get everything laid out, show you everything you need to have to use, and more than likely, what you'll need tonight, you've probably already got laying around the house or in the garage, or easy access to. We'll get everything laid out and meet you back here, and we'll get ready to start building to make our tubes tonight. Appreciate y'all tuning in to hang out here in the garage for just a little while. All right, y'all, let me show you what we got going on here. What we got here is just a piece of foam. It's pretty stiff foam. But you don't have to use foam. You can actually cut you a little block of wood and use the same way. We just like to use foam, and I'll show you why. What we're using is our core shot rods from our stickworm mold. What we're going to do is just stick these down in that foam. The reason we do this is so we can remove them and not damage them or anything. That way we can still use them in our stickworm molds. We're just going to line them up. Normally we would fill this up. We're only going to do 6 tonight, just for demonstration purposes, just to give you all an idea of what we're going to do here. Now, as you can see there, you can hold it upside down, turn it sideways, whatever you want to do. It keeps them separated. That's key to what we're fixing to do, is keeping these rods separated. This is remelt, and we're just using remelts tonight because we plan on using these tomorrow when we go crappie fishing. We'll give you the recipe of what we actually have in there. This is stuff that we've shot on camera. We're just using the remelts of it to make some tubes tonight. And we've got straight irons as well. I'll just kind of give you an idea of what you can do. If you got a Sharpie marker laying around the house, you can take and make these as long as you want them. And you don't have to mark. You can mark every one of your rods if that's the way you want, but you can just mark one. Because I want the tail just as long as I want the body, so I'm going to do a 50-50 on the tube. 3/4 inch body with a 3/4 inch tail. So I would mark again. I'd mark the 3/4 inch mark and the 1.5 inch mark. All right, y'all. On your rods, whenever you put your lube, whatever you're using, be sure to wipe them off. Get that excess oil off, because if you don't, your plastic won't stick to it when you dip them. You're going to find your 1.5 inch mark. You're going to dip that right down in your plastic. Hold it there for about 5 to 10 seconds. Pull it out. Depending on how thick you want your bodies of your baits, whether or not you dip once or dip twice. Depending on your temperature. We're dipping our tubes about 300 to 305 degrees is where we're at. We're going to go in for a second dip on these. We like our bodies just a little bit fuller, like so. And we're going to hold that there and just kind of let it drain off. And you can tell once it starts setting up, it'll quit dripping. You can I'll show you a couple of different ways that you can get that excess off. You can use scissors, or you can just wipe it across the top of You can wipe it right across the top of your Pyrex and get that excess off, or you can take scissors and physically clip it off. I normally, depending on if I'm shooting for myself or somebody, a lot of times I'll just use a cup if I'm just shooting for myself. But we're gonna let those set for just a moment while we bring our orange up to temperature. We'll meet you back here when we get ready to dip our orange, and then show you the rest of the process. So we're going to dip these down to 3/4 inches. Hold it, pull it out. We're going to go in for one more dip because we like I said earlier, we like our bodies just a little fuller. We'll go back to our 3/4 inch mark, hold it for just a moment, let it drain. Turn them up, we'll let them cool. As you can see there, you got your two colored tubes. We'll let them cure. We'll show you how we take them off the rods. Pretty simple with the lubricant on there. We'll show you how we cut our tails. They give you guys something else to add to your bait arsenal. The more you do, the easier it'll get for you. All right, here's all we do. We just take and just kind of work that tube right off the rod, just like you would if you were shooting a core shot. Just kind of work it right off the mold. Most of the time they'll just slide right off. Every once in a while you might get one that's a little contrary. We'll move that to the side and we'll show you how we cut our tails. Pretty simple process. We'll just put some WD-40 on that board. We'll take our tube and just kind of roll it around on it. We got a tube cutter. We purchased this from Angling AI. If you go to their website, in the accessory, pull down the menu. It's underneath the accessory, in the accessory column. You'll find the tube cutter. Just take the edge of your razor blades and lay it right against the body and just mash down. As you can see, it cut the tail. Pull it out. There you have your jig, your tube jig, or tube bait, whichever you prefer to call it. We'll do a couple more for you on camera. Doesn't take long at all to cut these. Definitely want to be sure you use lubricant. If you don't, when you cut the tails and try to pull it out of the cutter, a lot of times you'll pull the tentacles off after they're cut if you don't use some type of lubricant on it, where they'll slide out. And there you have it, guys. There's your tubes. No mold required. Bass or crappie. Pretty simple little process. Get the same results. They won't be perfect as far as the bodies, just because of not using an injection mold. They work just the same, catch fish just the same. Real inexpensive way to make baits. You don't have to be a bait maker to do it. Just thought we'd share that with you tonight. We'll meet you back here in just a minute. We got a few more to cut the tails on that we done off camera. We'll meet you back here and go over the recipe for these two colors. All right, y'all. Just want to take a minute. Thank everyone for tuning in to hang out here in the garage with us tonight. Oh, we made some tubes, some crappie tubes in our orange, what we call our sunrise color. Pretty simple process. A lot of you all that's already making baits, you've got the stuff already laying around to do this. If you decide to make the bigger tubes for like bass fishing and that kind of stuff, you definitely need a bigger rod. A lot of your hardware stores, they carry stainless steel rod. You can buy it in different length sections, and a couple foot if you're making baits for yourself would be plenty. If you're making baits to resell, then naturally you probably want more. Tonight we were just using our rods right out of our core shot stick bait mold. Showed you guys how we set it up just for demonstration purposes. You can take wood, you can drill holes in wood and do the same thing, or you can get you a little piece of foam and just stick them down in there, and you can reuse this as well. The tail cutter, again, is an Angling AI product. If you go to their website, pull the menu, the drop down menu, go to the accessory tab, and you'll find this tube tail mold cutter, or tube tail cutter, on their website. Just to walk you through the recipe we used tonight, we used a green chartreuse from MF Manufacturing. Again, this is stuff that we already had. It's leftover. We were making these for ourselves to use tomorrow. The chartreuse color we used was the green chartreuse from MF Manufacturing, 3355X2. 40 drops per 1 cup of plastisol is our recipe that we used on that. The orange, I guess I need to tell you what the flake was. The flake was Lureworks chartreuse 0.025 hex head, or hex cut. 1/4 teaspoon per 1 cup of plastisol. The orange, we use 3305X2. Now, depending on how dark you want your orange, I use 50 drops. And the reason for that is I wanted to be able to do different body sizes. I wanted to have a smaller profile as well as a larger profile. Now, if I had only used 40 drops of that, I would have had to dip this smaller one multiple times to get that orange color. So I increased my drops on it. This originally was what we shot on camera, had 40 drops to 1 cup of plastisol. We added 10 more drops. There's roughly about a half a cup in there. So we added 10 more drops to that. So you're looking at probably 20 drops, 20 drops to a full cup of plastisol, which would put you up to 60 drops. That's to get by with no more than 2 dips into the color to get that bright orange look. That's our process. That's how we make our tubes. We do have a tube mold for our bigger molds in the bass line. We don't use it a lot. Occasionally we'll use it if we're doing a 2-colored system such as these, like we did tonight. We may shoot our base color in the mold and then dip our second color in there to get our 2 colors on our bass tubes. A lot of times we won't ever even use the mold. We do it just like we done here. Only we got a bigger platform. We use the Presto pot when we're doing that. Maybe one of these nights we'll pull that out and show you our process with it. If you're shooting baits for yourself, you can take the bigger measuring cups, the 2 cups, 2-cup measuring cup, and do the same thing for the bass baits. It'll get you roughly about a 4 to 4.5 inch tube. You'll have to continue to keep adding plastisol to it if you make a bunch of them. Appreciate y'all tuning in tonight. Thank you to everyone that's subscribed to the channel. Appreciate all the great comments that you leave. We've had a lot of great comments. A lot of our viewers reaching out to us with questions. If you got questions, be sure to reach out to us. We'll do our very best to answer those. If we know, if we don't, we're going to tell you we don't. But we'll do our best. We'll share our knowledge with you the best that we can for anything that we know. If we know it, we want to share it with you. Appreciate y'all tuning in. If you haven't, give us a chance. Hit that subscribe button. We'd love to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. That's our goal. We want to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. If y'all could hit that share button, share it with your friends, share it with your buddies, your fishing buddies. Tell them to give us a chance and subscribe. If you haven't, be sure to hit them buttons before you leave out tonight. Till next time, thanks for watching. LCL Outdoors.